Hey everybody, it's Allie Edwards and welcome back to some of my videos for December Daily 2023. This is story number 2, and as you can see, I am embracing color. And color is a huge piece of what I wanted to experience this season, bringing in some non-traditional Christmas colors, colorful, festive fun, right? That was what I talked about back in my intention. And so when I was decorating my tree pre-December, which I'll have some other very specific stories about the tree. Like I have one already set up in here, just to find it. It's one where I did with these guys here. I might actually have to move it up because I feel really excited to document the tree. So maybe that needs to come up sooner. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to worry about that today because today I'm only worrying about this one story, the one story that I want to tell. That's how I approach this project. So this is a photo that I took of some of the new ornaments that I got earlier this year. These were from a site called Terrain. When I looked back on there to see if they were still available, they aren't available anymore. They're nice big balls, and they had a combination of like reflective ones, glass ones, and then more of a matte color. Super, super fun. So I want to talk about a couple different things that have come up already this morning as I've been starting to think through. So the first thing that happened to me today is I did the first time I printed this, it printed on my matte presentation paper, which is fine. I intended that I would print it on the Epson photo paper, but it came out on the matte presentation paper. And nothing wrong with that, right? Could 100% be my page for today. I did know, though, that I wanted the glossy one. So I went back and I reprinted it. And then I was thinking about, ways that I could use both of them. Potentially cutting out the balls on the top and then have something underneath. That was one direction that I could go today. And part of what I want to talk about today is that there are lots and lots of different directions that we could go with this project and each individual story that we tell. So I'm choosing not to use both of these, but that might spark an idea for you that allows you to have a lot of fun with your own storytelling. So I'm sticking with this guy. I do still have my joy overlay here, and I am planning to cut out the O. And I think most likely what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a 2 inside of there. Like use some transparency, mount a 2 on top. That's my initial thought, but I'll come back to that in a little bit because I want to focus more on this part right now. So as I was looking through things that I had already pulled out to have in my album, some of them were these circles that I had cut out from some of the pattern paper that we offered this year. And these circles are right about 2.5 inches. These ones, there's a bunch of them that are actually from the pattern paper. And then there are also some that I stamped. So one of the stamp sets we offered this year is that same design, which is this stamp set. So it has an outlined version of it. It also has, or the outlined version, it has the filled in version. Here you can see one I did when I was doing samples earlier in the season. This is on vellum and it's embossed with gold embossing using the outline and then Christmas at Home, wherever that one is on here, Christmas at Home. I also did some that were just stamped. This one says Merry Everything. Obviously, this is using this one with the light green and then Merry Everything with the dark. And you can also use the numbers on there. So this is a fun universal set, especially for somebody that likes circles. So far, I've done a lot of circles in this project because that's one of my most favorite shapes that I come back to again and again. And there's a lot of circles in Christmas. So my whole album probably won't have circles in it, but we're starting off circle strong. That's how we're starting off circle strong. So I'm kind of thinking about, let's talk through some different things, right? I could make some more of these if I wanted to. That might be something that I consider. I'm kind of looking at, even just using maybe one of these. So let's talk a little bit about that. I like the idea that maybe it could sit on top and it could turn up, like I could use a brad so you could still get down to see that color underneath if you wanted to. These two colors are very similar, right? One was the matte one and one was the more reflective one there. The other thing that's cool on here, I don't know if you can see this, is that you can see me in the balls there. I'm just doing a peace sign. Maybe I could talk about peace. That would be something else. So I'm kind of thinking about doing yes, please. And then maybe doing, I don't know. I kind of think I might just do one. kind of thinking about that, and then having just a little journaling, like, here's my colorful ornaments this year, right? Every story that we tell in this project doesn't have to be long journaling, deeply meaningful. It can just be, you know, yes, I'm celebrating color. Yes for color. Yes for this picture, right? Yes for photography. Yes for whatever it is that you are saying yes to. Actually, that's a great journaling prompt, is what are you saying yes to right now? Okay, that's good. That's good enough for me. I'm going to end. I'm committing now. So I have the rest of these circles. They may pop up somewhere else. They might pop up in a one in the future. I don't know yet. I still do like this one. I still do like, I'm still hanging on to all of these. I just think they're all cute. The Merry Everything could really go with that too. You could layer them on top of each other. They're just so cute. What about this? Okay, wait here. Now we're using our brains a little more. What if that was on, I still kind of want the see-through part, because I like how the see-through is going to make it be color, and it's not a perfect circle, which is fine. I think what I'm going to do before I commit to anything, well, a couple things. So a couple things that I could do, I'm thinking of lots of things right now. I'm thinking of numbers. So, where I could put the 2, right? If I did something like this, I could also do a really colorful embossing on there that would be nice and reflective of this, what I have going on here. Part of the reason, I have so many different thoughts to share. I will be telling the longer story of the colorful tree when I do the tree page. So I don't need to tell that story right now. I can focus on something more micro, right? The micro concept of this is what I'm saying yes to in this season. So maybe I put the number, maybe the number just goes right on top of this. That could be super simple and awesome. Maybe the number still is going to go. Let's cut that out and just see. Let's see where we're going to go with that. Let's give ourselves a little bit of space to play around with this. So to cut this out, I am going to use my X-Acto knife and just hand to cut it, which is a risky adventure, but we're going to do it. We are going to do it. Okay, so I just have my craft knife, X-Acto knife, nice, probably new-ish tip on there. We'll see. And I'm just going to go real slow. And I'm going to stick it right in there, and then I'm just going to go along the edge, and then I will turn it. Again, this is not going to be perfect, because perfect is not what we are striving for. And yes, I cut right into my table. If you're new here, just accept. Acceptance. It works for me. Let's see. We're just going around. You can double check and see, am I actually pressing hard enough? Yes, I am. Yay, it's coming out. This paper also was part of our, I think it was in the specialty paperback, or maybe it was in the main kit. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. We did have some vellum in the main kit this year, but I'm kind of far away. I can't remember all that stuff now. Okay. So I like this as a peekaboo hole. That's part of that's part of what I am thinking that this can be. I like that it's a peek into the color. And, it could also have journaling on top of this, too. I think I'm going to have to go back in. You could put, do a transparent circle inside of here. I got a little bit over onto the gold there, but it's going to be okay. You could have your journaling in this circle there. If you saw my tutorial yesterday about journaling, putting your journaling in a circle in Photoshop, that you could do that here and have it come out on the other side. Let's see. Okay. Okay, awesome. All right, so again, it's not perfect. I do have this little spot over there. We'll see that maybe, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen before we get to the end of this part. Okay, this is what I really wanted to do though, right? Is I wanted to have, see where is that going to be? So it's kind of on the yellow, which is good and bad. The other thing that we could do too is, we could decide that we want it to go this way. And then it's got a little more of the red. It really doesn't matter, right, which way I orient this particular picture. It could go this way, it could go that way. Originally, obviously, it was vertical, but that doesn't suit the way that I want it to go. And I don't think I want that lemon yellow one right there. So let's just envision a little bit. This was one thing I was talking about. That's just going to take it right back to the vellum, right? So that might not be exactly what I want to do. Let's see what else I have on my desk here. Okay, so here's one of the transparencies that we had in the kit. And I still do have this number 2 too. Let's take that guy off there. I mean, that I had this on here just as a general idea. I don't feel like I have to use that, and I might want something smaller. So here's the transparency that could go right behind there, and I would just cut it out in a similar shape. I might end up like stitching, running this through my sewing machine. That might be something that I would do. Got these numbers. Few numbers in. This is my little December daily number box. So this is from the last couple of years. Oh yeah, those ones were really good too. That might be fun. Actually, I need to put these ones need to go here. So this box is supposed to be for my bigger numbers. You guys have seen that I also have another box that has smaller numbers like this guy right here, right? So let's pull this out and see. I'm not committing to this. I'm still kind of just thinking through. But I'm going to put these guys in a spot. In with their partners. Sometimes when I'm working on a project, then I got to pivot for a few minutes, right? Pivot to pivot to do a little organizing. So here's a couple other 2s that I have right now. I even have this circle too, but I think I want it to be clearer. So these are from past things. This one I think was from Week in the Life. That's one from December Daily, maybe a couple years ago. That one would probably be pretty great in terms of just the color over here. But I like the black too, so we have some options. Maybe I'll just keep those 2 out for right now, and then I'm just going to take these numbers that I found in that other place, and I'm going to get them in with their comrades here. Let's see. So as we're going along here, today's a good example of kind of a blank slate day, right? Like this is a day where I didn't have any, I mean, I had this 2 attached on there, and I had this in here. So I knew I kind of wanted to do something like this, but I wasn't sure. So I'm starting a little more from scratch than I do on some of the other days, which I think is great. So I still have my yes, please. And maybe that, you know, that's a good example. That could be right there. I liked it on top of that one before. And it can still, my plan is that I'm going to make it so that it can swivel. Okay, then I like that because you're going to be able to see through there just a little bit. I'm kind of thinking, okay, so I'm wishing a little bit that I had like a bright pink number 2 to introduce this particular story. So what are ways that I could create pink if I wanted to? I mean, I do like the 2 though. But I could emboss on top of that. I have pink embossing. I have pink ink that I could use with a number. We could do an emboss number 2. Oh, here's fun too. So something that's kind of nice to do sometimes is to look and see where does something, you know, from the previous day, where does that lay? Do I like that one? Do I like that one? Obviously, I'm going to go with the black. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm talking through some other ideas, right? Other things that we could do. So I got to put the 2 back. Now, a place where I could bring in some pink, if I wanted to here, was if I end up stitching the transparency on there, which I kind of think is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to look at my transparencies and see if I had one that just had stars. Maybe there was one from that 3x8 transparency set. Okay, so I didn't find one that I wanted. So I think a couple options. One, I can do this, or I can also do one that's just like a blank one. I could do that, a blank, just creating that window that's going to be able to have the 2, so the 2 can live on top of there. So that's another option also. Maybe I'll just do that. Either one would work just fine. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is, this is the part that I cut out, the extra part, right, of the inside of the O. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that with this. This is a piece of graphics transparency. And obviously, again, you can do this on the pattern transparency that you might have in your own stash, or you could, you know, make something that had a fun pattern on it. That's another option. I just cut it right now in a square, and I'm going to cut around it and leave a border so that I think probably what I'm going to do is stitch it on my sewing machine. You could use red line tape to adhere it on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You could hand stitch it. That's still something I could probably do if I wanted to. It's Saturday today, so I have a little bit more time in terms of stitching. So that might be fun to stitch around here, like doing some fun little stitch. Okay, this is going to be kind of hard to see. But what I'm doing, I'm laying it on the back. One of the things is I want it to be inside of the red, I think. So now I'm just going to take the piece and just trim a little bit more around. So it's contained within my O, or close enough. That's close enough. All right, so now is when I'm going to decide, do I want to run this through the sewing machine and do like a wonky stitch around there? Do I want to do a hand stitch? I think what I'm going to do is a hand stitch. So this is an opportunity for me to bring in some pink or some other colors. So I'm going to grab some of my embroidery floss. So I was going to pull this out and see like what kind of pinks. I have that, like, I'm looking at here too, right? Like a pink of like that maybe, which is kind of like a coral. That might be fun. Let's see what other, I do have a hotter pink. That's more of like a, how about this one? I think I'm going with that one. Okay, we gotta try it. We gotta just dive in. So I kind of like the lighter pink because this is the one that I'm gonna be using on here. Essentially that's where it's gonna sit. So having, yeah, that looks good. And if you don't, you know, if you want to do something similar and you're not doing bright colors, you could obviously do a green, a beige, a red, any of those colors. Okay, so I think what I need to do here is I need to give this a little bit of temporary adhesive just so that it will hold in place. So let's just put a little bit on there, right there. You can see it a little bit, but it's not going to matter because I'm going to put the other stuff on top. All right, so some of you guys who participated in our prep day this year saw where I did stitching. I have another story coming up that will be about the colors in December. You know, red, green, whatever. And I'm probably going to do like a visual map of that. But I did stitches like this on top of this big die cut, and that was really fun also. But I think in this case, I'm just going to do like a really basic straight stitch around the outside, and let's see how it goes through the transparency. This is a little bit of our exploration. And again, I'm diving way deeper into this. You could easily not stitch, right? You could not cut it out. You could just put your number 2 on the center there. That would be amazing. Remember that you're doing your own project and I'm doing my own project. All right, so I got my needle and thread all ready here. I think with this one, it's gonna be easier for me to punch holes first in here, go around the stitches. And so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go around the edge here. Let's see, I need like a little, oh, there we go. Mistake number 1. I need something soft underneath there. Soft. Okay, let's try this again. I think we'll skip that one. We'll come back to that. We'll be around there. Okay, way better. So that's just, I just grabbed some extra felt there. This will give me at least, I can go around. And you can make the distance between these as far as you want. I'm just going around the inside. Again, choose your own adventure. This might be way more time than you want to spend, and that's totally fine. Okay, so I punched all of those holes. That's just using a paper piercer. And now we can dive into running the stitches around. I think what I'm gonna do right off the bat here is tape this down. I may end up doing something on the back here that's gonna cover this up a little bit. That's something that I often do. I don't know yet. We gotta see what happens. All right, so I got out a little bit of Scotch tape just to hold down the end of that. I'm actually going to end up tying a couple little knots at the end when it is complete. But from there, once I had that in the right spot there, I just went ahead and literally did just stitching around the outside edge. And I went up and down, you know, through the front, up through the front, down through the back kind of thing. So it ends up being it has a little bit of space between it. So I think that if I was going to do it again, I would make my holes closer together. So I had a few other options there. I kind of wanted it to be stitched all the way through. I just needed to do a different kind of stitch, I think. But anyway, it turned out it looks fine. I'm glad I poked the holes. I thought that was a smart move on my part. And then you're just literally going through the process of stitching it on there. A couple things I thought about, I did consider like, oh, I could go back in through the holes where there's the extra space and add a different color. I didn't end up doing that, but that was something that I thought about, or I could have, you know, done a variety of different colors or something, but this was enough for what I wanted to do today. So here you can see once I got all the way around the whole circle there, I went ahead and just tied. I did 2 little knots with the leftover thread to hold it in place. In the end, I do end up just leaving it as it is. I don't try to cover it up with something else, which is part of the reason why I decided to just tie the little knots and then cut off the end. So there's just a little bit left on there. But overall, I really like how that part turned out. A couple things you can see. One is my transparency got all moved over. So I'm actually going to go in and just cut it down a little bit. So it's all just inside of the, there. Okay. Imperfect fun. All right, so got the nice pink coming in there. We're going to deal with that yes please next. We're going to stick the number 2 on here for story number 2. Let's just go ahead and do it. We're just going to commit. And yeah, it's going to have the blank side on the back side, but I don't really care about that. All right, so that's what the back looks like. It's not bad at all. Okay, so now I'm going to deal with my yes please. And one thing I was looking at over here on this one, I did a big star on the top there. I'm wondering that might be a little bit too big, that star stamp with the, but we might have something smaller that we can put there. Is there anything else I want? Do I want to say something else? Do I want that to be a flip up? Do I want to have this part be cut out like as a thing and then have the journaling inside there? I might want to try that too because I'm in a try mode today. So I think what I'm going to do for this one is I'm actually going to go grab the digital version of it and I'm going to test out printing that out, and I might just put some journaling inside of there. I'm going to try it. Okay, I think I printed this on my printer, obviously. I printed that out. Just says just simple, sweet, simple little journaling. Looks like I need to make my circle a little bit bigger. But before I cut the one that I really want, I'm gonna test it to see if I want to cut out the middle. So let's just try one. This is one that I can sacrifice. Again, I'm taking each one of the steps farther than maybe I normally would, and that's fine. You gotta go with your own energy, etc., etc. Okay, so then I have a little frame. It's a little messy, but I wasn't going for perfect. So then, see how that can fit right on top of there. Let's cut this out just so that we can. These are the tests. So again, this circle is just about, the inside of it is like 2.5, or the outside is 2.5. So let's see what does this look like. Pretend that that's the pink one. Mainly what I wanted to see here is, can I read that? Can I read the black? Or would I rather have, like, make it white? I could do that with my foil quill or the ink machine, or make it gold. That would be something else. I might do it in gold just to see what it looks like. I kind of like the black because it's a nice tie back to the black of that one. So I think I'll try it just because we have time and we're playing around. So I'll do this again and I'll just run it through the ink machine with the gold foil on top. And then I may still end up using this one, but with the pink on top. All right, so before I decided to try running my journaling through the ink machine, I did go ahead and cut out the white space on the actual circle there that I wanted to use. So I'm using my craft knife to cut that out, trying to be a little more precise on this one maybe than I did on the other one, but it's a little tricky. As I was doing it, I was thinking, oh, this could be something that you could cut with a silhouette. If you liked that kind of shape, you could take one of the a digital version of it or make your own and then cut them out on a silhouette so you weren't having to do the hand cutting part. But the hand cutting is also just part of the craftiness and that of the imperfection. And I think allowing yourself to stay in that place where you are doing things by hand can be a great way to work on dealing with perfectionism generally. So I'm going to go back in there and trim off a little bit of the white part. I tried to stay in the pink while I was doing that, and that worked for most of it, and then for maybe a part of it, it was a little challenging. But in the end, I'm really glad that I did go down this path, and you can see that I'm just continuing to trim out the inside there. And then here's what that ends up looking like just with the first one that I ran through the printer with the black, where I just kind of wanted to see what did that look like, and I still liked it that way. But I did go ahead and print out another version of it and run it through my ink machine, which you can see here. That is something that can add gold foil. There's Betty here in the office taking it back over to the table and then pulling up the piece where the gold foil was added to that circle, and then I'll go through the process of cutting it out. I really like having that little bit of gold on there. I think that was a fun way to do that. If you don't have a ink machine, this is something that you can do foiling on a silhouette. We actually in our prep day this year talked about a few different ways that you could gold foil, including some paste and things like that. So there's many different ways that you can make the same sort of thing happen. I'm going to go back in and trim out a little bit more here, and then I will be adhering this cutout piece on top of the minked plastic. So on the part that was foiled, I'm going to adhere the two of those together, and then I'm going to cut around the outside. Okay, so excited. So excited. Now, I've got a couple options. I definitely want to have some colorful something up here. Not colorful, but shiny. I want a shiny something. And I keep thinking about, some of you guys might remember for a number of years, I had gold star brads. I don't think I have, I think I've used all of those over the years. I don't think I have any more of those. And those were so fun to add on. I was going to look in my thing. I might have to try to find some more of those to add to my collection of stuff. But I kind of think it might just be nice just to have a nice big gold brad in there that can go back through to the other side, and then it can be turned if I want it to be. Let's see. It's kind of funny because, you know, this is a lot of work for something that's very simple. that the end result is very simple, but as with everything we're doing, right, it's to choose your own adventure. I loved working through the process of this. That's part of what I like about this project, is challenging my brain to think about some different things that I might want to try or experiment with. That part is really fun for me. So if that part is not fun for you, then you can achieve similar things without all of the steps, right? Maybe you just have a beautiful color, you know, picture of your ornaments, and then you're adding journaling in a strip. Or maybe your ornaments, you're taking a picture and you're just doing a 4x6 journaling card paired with a 4x6 photo of your ornaments, or what you're saying yes to, which I love that as the jumping off point for this particular story. That would be amazing. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to attach this with the brad right on top of there. I am going to use my paper piercer again to just get me kind of right in the middle there. About right there or so. And then I'm going to go all the way through the photo itself. Pull this back out. Get me a... because I haven't adhered my photo. This photo is going to get adhered onto the back of the pattern paper. But now I've got at least a hole to get into there. This might need a bigger... let's give it a bigger hole here. And then we'll push it through the other part. There. See, it's just cute. Just sometimes it doesn't have to be so much. Let's see. Even though I, you know, took however long. What am I at? Probably over an hour now. All right. Yes. And maybe you want to, you know, maybe for you, you want to add more. The only thing I gotta have it, it's gotta go over that edge. So I need to move it up a little bit. This is just going to be me. Excuse me. But how cute is that? Just even this idea right here, like this might be a jumping off point for you to do some whole other amazing thing. And maybe I'll come back to this again, like this kind of shape, and you know, I have all those other ones I could add at another point in time. So I got that brad all the way through there. I'm going to flip it over and press the feet down to secure that in place. Super cute. Yay! Okay, so as I put this into the album, I am making an executive decision that I'm actually not going to adhere my photo to the back of this pattern paper yet. This is the one that I had in my foundation flow that I established previously, but I'm not going to commit to this one for tomorrow yet. I might want to use this later in the album. I still love what I have here of the today's details with this ornament over here, so I may still end up pairing that with a full page pattern paper. I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to not limit myself in that by simply not adhering my photo page, the background photo page, to that next page. So it will just be waiting until tomorrow, so we will see what kind of adventure we go out on tomorrow. So here's a look at what this looks like in the album. I love it's always fun to see the evolution, right? Lots of fun, playful, interactive stuff. We've got story 1 that was from yesterday about getting some of the things that I did during during November to get ready for December. And then story number 2 is what am I saying yes to, right? My little yes, please story. I did the stitching around the outside. I cut out the middle of the O to add on the number 2 there. I took one of these that was from the extra pattern paper pack, ended up doing a little bit of journaling that I ran through the Mink machine to have just a fun little story on top of that. A little micro story, right? A micro story of what I'm saying yes to, with the big, fun, colorful background picture there to support that story. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here today, and I will hopefully see you back here again tomorrow.